What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me here on TLP Sports Club. The show you're watching is TLP Live. I go by the name of Harry B, and the B means billion. I'm coming to you not necessarily breaking news, but to break some news to let you know if you are not that close and you don't follow every breaking news of the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns have now parted ways with Kevin Stafanski. I am here to talk about that and what would be next in line for Cleveland's coaching staff, their offensive line, their young quarterback, Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. I have a lot to add to that. We're going to talk about it. You can also join me, guys. All right. Chocolate City's in the building. Kenny Heath Gregory is first in the chat. Salute to you. You can join me here, guys, if you want to hear your voice. You want to add your voice to the conversation. That's jointlplive@gmail.com. That's jointlplive@gmail.com if you want to add your voice to the conversation. For those of you who are generous and want to bless a brother, my Cash App is at the bottom of the screen, guys. It is $TLP Sports Club, $, the S with the low line, going straight down. TLP Tango Larry Peter, sports like we talk about here, club like you're joining a sports club. You know what I'm saying? So it's $TLP Sports Club. Thank you so much for those who are going to be a blessing to me and my channel. All right. And for those of y'all guys who are not subscribed to the channel, I ask you to please hit that subscribe button. We are on our way, I believe, to 25,000 subscribers. All right. That's halfway to 50,000. And then the next 50 is going to come with some of the plans that we have for this channel for 2026. All right. The first 25 was not easy to get. I believe the next 25 is going to be much easier. That's just how things work, because as more and more people become familiar with this channel, with me and my voice and the other people that come on this channel and bless me. And I want to say a special message to Mrs. Harris. All right. Mrs. Harris, my guy feels so real. His voice at the top of the show, his voice, all right, is an incredibly needed on this channel. He is a instrumental part of the panels on this here channel. So when he comes on here, whether it's 5 seconds or 5 hours, when we are doing our telethons, his voice is needed on this channel. So I just wanted to let you know that when he comes on here, OMG, we need his voice. DC Cars and Music, Wild Dog, and all my guys that come on here, man, I'm telling you, I need all of these guys, and it's a blessing to have all of them here on this channel. All right, guys, so I really do appreciate it. So Mrs. Harris, that's a message to you and to my guy Phil. He asked for that. So all right, guys, so let's get going. The news is not breaking. For those of you who are close to the ground, those of you who have your eyes and your ears to the ground on everything Browns, guys, you know what I'm saying? The news is not breaking, but it is news. It is news to share, because not everybody has their eyes and ears to the ground, and everybody is not following it step by step. So this might be your first time hearing it here at TLP Sports Club. So yes, Kevin Stafanski has now been let go by the Browns organization. A lot of you probably, by the time you sat down at work, you got to work, and then you're like, OMG, you couldn't wait to sit down because you probably got the news on your way to work. If you are in the Cleveland area, guys, in Pennsylvania or somewhere near there, you probably heard it on the Fan. I believe it's 93, the Fan, or something like that over there. All right, so you already heard it. But this is coming from CBSSports.com, guys. CBSSports.com, as we are accustomed to do here on the TLP Sports Club YouTube channel. We give you a source, someone or some outlet that is much that has credentials or that has credence. And this one is being reported or was reported an hour ago, all right, by Jonathan Jones. Browns fire Kevin Stefanski after five-win season. Two-time coach of the year may land another job this cycle. If you guys remember, yesterday I was talking and I was letting you know the broadcasters, the announcers during the game, that obviously, Kevin Stefanski's agents, they get to work early because they already knew, and Kevin Stefanski probably already knew that he was going to get fired. So they put their heads together and they got everything, moving in the right direction. They started promoting him. I would say at least 3 to 4 games before the season was over, and they started putting that good word out right away that Kevin Stefanski, he will land another job right away. You feel me? Because, I don't know if the way that things went, he inherited a pretty nice team, with a pretty nice situation. But after winning maybe having a good 1-year season and then winning the coach of the year twice, things kind of started to degrade or kind of like have a downward spiral, and it didn't get any better. All right. And then with the whole Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel situation that was pretty much botched by the head coach, there was no other direction that the Cleveland Browns could have gone in than get rid of Kevin Stefanski. The way I look at it was like, pretty much, you are the head coach, right? Now, whether he's taking the fall for the way that the organization wanted to go or the way that they handled the situation, he is the head coach, and somebody had to take the fall, and it was going to be him. The GM was responsible for putting together the roster, and if you look at the way that he drafted in 2025, that draft class is probably one of the top draft class in Cleveland's recent history. All right, if you look at some of the young guns he brought in, now obviously the quarterbacks are still kind of, the jury's still out on the quarterbacks, but we know that Shedeur Sanders, out of Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur's probably the better piece. It's arguable, but Shedeur's probably the better piece. But overall, if you extract the quarterbacks, Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, everybody else is looking pretty good. You got Judkins, you got a few pieces. I believe Graham came in as well. All right, and on that defense, and the Browns are in good shape on their defense. They need to fix a few things to make sure that their offense is going to be legit contenders coming in 2026, the 2026 season. So that's obviously a few things we need to go ahead and discuss. Some key things that we talked about yesterday, but I want to add a little bit more, juice to what has to happen in order for these Browns to be successful in 2026, which is where we are now. All right. So think about it. I'm not sure if the Shedeur fan base had much to do with the firing. Obviously, we are a lot and we ain't nothing to mess with. So I would say, yeah, our voices were loud and we were proud to let you know that, hey, man, you're not doing this correctly. First of all, communication fell apart from the beginning. Communication fell apart. We're fans. We're going to be obnoxious. Some of us are going to be level-headed, and the others, some are not going to be level-headed. Some are just going to cuss you the creep out, and that's just how it's going to be. Fan bases are pretty much, they come in different sizes, shapes, and forms. Okay, so when you have the mixture of what I would say, think about the Colorado fan base. Right? I'm talking about the OGs, the ones that were there before the Deion Sanders crew came in. Okay? They like to call them prom sexuals and all kinds of names. Before the circus arrived in Colorado, there was, I would say, somewhat of a base that was kind of hungry for some change. So that base coupled with the Deion Sanders fan base, and now we got the Shedeur Sanders fan base, right? It was kind of like a marriage and a coupling made in heaven, because we got along to a certain degree. Okay, and I feel like some people are still there trying to make it work when Shedeur left. But now you got the Cleveland Browns fan base. I'm talking about the OGs, the ones that were there before. They've been wheeling, or whatever the word is. Pick an American word for going through some ups and downs and troubles and whatnot, right? Pick an American word and put it there. Adjectives, nouns, verbs, and whatever else you want it to be, okay? Pick one of those and insert that. But yeah, the fan base have been kind of like going through some, ups and downs for years. I would say they haven't been satisfied for decades, right? And then here comes Shedeur Sanders, which was kind of like a weird situation to be put in because now you got two rookies and you got to do something with one of them. Obviously, the rookie Shedeur Sanders brings a lot of fans, right? A whole lot of fans. Kevin Stafanski, I don't know if he's handled a situation like this before, or he just didn't have the confidence in Shedeur, and he didn't care. I don't know what it was, but it was weird the way he handled it. The first thing he did was lie to us. He said there was going to be a what you call it? A competition. He said there was going to be a quarterback competition. That quarterback competition turned into an audition for Dillon Gabriel. There was never a competition. He gave everything to Dillon Gabriel. He put all his eggs in Dillon Gabriel's basket and said, "I'm riding with you, Mr. 3 foot 1 inch dwarf of a guy. I'm going to ride with you. It doesn't matter." Okay? Dillon Gabriel got in there, stunk up the place with his dinks and dunks, and it was boring to watch Dillon Gabriel. I mean, it was really boring. Okay? Now, it could have been the game plan, and some of it could have been Dillon Gabriel because you have checks. Okay? You got options. They say, okay, that is your first read. You got reads. Read number one, read number two's not open, read number one's not open, read number two, read number two's not open, read number three, read number three's not open. You're in trouble. Like, sound the alarm, okay? Get rid of the ball, do something. Manage the game, don't lose the game. He was good at managing the game, not trying to lose the game, right? But it was boring to watch because the field was never opened. He never opened up the field. So we were kind of waiting. The dinks and dunks are not bad. Don't get me wrong, because that's how the NFL goes. The way that you want to do that is you want to, throw some short passes, get the run game going, and then, throw a few passes 25 yards or further out. That way, you kind of keep them guessing. But it was for Dillon Gabriel, I would say more than 75 to 80% of his passes and the stuff that he was doing were more so within that yellow line. And for those of you who are not familiar with football and how that works, that yellow line is 10 yards from the scrimmage line. That's first down. You pass that yellow line, you got 10 yards, right? Right across that yellow line, right on the other side of the United States, that's Canada. So right in Canada, that's first down. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if you are somewhere in where there's a border, Mexico, the U.S., Mexico is first down, okay? You understand what I'm saying? But Dillon Gabriel he stayed in the United States. He did not want to travel outside of the United States very much so. And he didn't get into Mexico or Canada or Russia, depending on which part of the lines you are. You feel me? So it was boring to watch. Shedeur comes in after week, whatever, pick a week. I'll say 11 maybe. I don't remember. But he comes in and all of a sudden, he gives us or Cleveland a little spark. I've been saying us a few times lately because I'm starting to integrate myself with the Cleveland fan base. A few of them have come around here and they're trying to embrace me as a content creator for college and for the NFL. And, they like my takes and I'm starting to embrace them as well. Some of them are straight haters of Shedeur. Some of them are just kind of Cleveland fans that just want their freaking team to work. That's all they want. Okay, so salute to all the guys that have embraced me, who are Cleveland fans, some white, some not so white, some are straight black, some don't care, some care. It is what it is. So we are all here trying to figure this thing out. So what's next? What is next with this firing? For those of y'all who want a little bit more information with the firing, let's give that to you before we move forward, because some of y'all don't y'all just want the information because you got your own barbershop you want to go to, and have your conversations. But yes, the firing has happened. I don't want to say we did it, but we did it. We made enough noise that the firing has finally happened. And if you are at work, I would say happy Monday to all of you guys who are, either on your way to work or you've already made it into work. It is now in New York City. It is 10:41 in New York City. So if you are in America, you are in 9 to 5, you should have been to work already for an hour and 41 minutes. So congratulations, happy Monday. In a few hours, you will be getting ready to go to lunch. We are very scheduled here in America and the first world. And in a few weeks, we will be celebrating Valentine's Day. So get ready to spend more money right after spending all of that money for Christmas and the holidays. So get ready. We're on the schedule here. You understand what I'm saying? Open your pocketbooks because Valentine's Day is next. Yeah. I kind of don't like it, but it is what it is. Okay, so after 6 seasons and 2 of the only 3 playoff appearances for this iteration of the franchise, the Cleveland Browns fired head coach Kevin Stafanski on Monday morning. I mean, they did it so early. It was like, I don't know. I don't think he woke up. I don't think he went to sleep because he knew what was coming. Okay, Stafanski, 43. Is 43 his age? Is he 43? Because they like to throw their ages right there. He's 43. It's a 2-time NFL Coach of the Year and signed an extension with the team in 2024. But since then, the Browns have won just 8 of a possible 34 games. Keep in mind, it's only 17 games now. It used to be less, okay? Okay, and the offensive-minded, keep in mind they called him an offensive-minded guy, and the offensive-minded head coach has given up play-calling duties to 2 different, offensive coordinators in that time. We appreciate all Stefanski's hard work and dedication to our organization, but our results over the last 2 seasons have not been satisfactory. And we believe a change at the head coaching position is necessary. Managing and principal partners D and Jimmy Haslam said in a statement. The Browns will retain general manager Andrew Barry. Okay, I'm going to read that part again. The Browns will retain general manager Andrew Barry, who will embark on a search for the next head coach that sources believe will likely yield another first-time head coach. And that man could very well have Shedeur Sanders as his week 1 quarterback next season. Man, okay? Women, beware. Don't apply. This does not apply to you. I don't care how well you know this football game. I don't care if you know X's and O's. You probably have a few X's yourself. Do not apply, okay? This is a man's game. This is a man's world. League sources believe Stafanski could get another head coaching job this cycle. And they've been promoting that, obviously, very early. Okay? So just keep that in mind. It started that promotion way early. His agents got right to work on making sure that he had another job. The coaching pool is not the coaching pool is not teaming with the sort of perceived talent as last year's crop. Stafanski could be a candidate with both the Titans and the Giants. They've been auditioning for that once they got the news, because Stafanski was acting like he was acting. Okay, let me just use the Southern swag. You know what I'm saying? He was acting like I think it's Southern and African, but he was acting like he was already gone. It's like they fired him and he was like, hey, I'm already gone, so what am I going to do? He either sabotaged some of the games because he already knew he was out of here, or there was an NFL script right? There's so many narratives. There's an NFL script, and the Cleveland Browns wanted to tank for better draft position. That's the three I'm coming up with right now. You can add your own in the chat. I do appreciate that. We like all of the negative stuff and the positive jumbled together like gumbo, so that we can have a show that people want to watch. That's what it's all about around here, okay? We need drama. Without drama, nobody cares. Nobody wants to touch it. Okay, the writing have been on the wall for Stafanski for months in Cleveland, as it seemed like he and leadership got off the same page. What made them get off the page? Was there a page? Anyways, this is the Browns. I don't think there was a page. It's kind of like, okay, the white guy at the top and his girl, they have money. They don't care about nothing else. They don't care about this team because, like one of my people said, Shantae said, it's a 30 billion. Well, I don't know how many billions it is with the NFL shares, but you share it equally. So if you're gonna share it equally, wins and losses don't matter. The Cleveland Browns don't care. Their fans are in disarray every year because the organization does not care about anything. They don't really care about anything. Okay, let me finish reading this stuff, and then we'll talk about all the juicy stuff. Okay, Johnny Garlington, like Arlington. What up with you, Johnny? Timothy Taylor, what up with you? Steve Simmons, virtual CEOs, what up with you? Breezy Gibson. Hey, man, I hope all is well with you. Thank you for being in the chat. I appreciate y'all being in the chat. All right, guys, let's keep it moving. We had to operate a clunky four-person quarterback competition in the summer with Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, and Sanders. Flacco was the clear winner and gave the team the best chance to win. I don't know why you're calling this a competition. It was no competition. Flacco did not get first team reps. He was anointed let me just keep reading. But second team reps ultimately got wasted on Pickett when he was traded before the start of the season to the Raiders for a nice fifth round return. Flacco started 4 games before Stafanski turned to Gabriel. And then the Browns made the surprising move to trade the veteran to the Bengals for a 5th round pick. What did not help Stafanski was Flacco going from a 60.3 quarterback rating in Cleveland to a 91 rating in Zach Taylor's offense. In week 10, Stafanski handed play calling duties over to Tommy Rees, who is well liked by owner Jimmy Haslam. It was the second straight year of Stefanski's. Come on, man. What's up with this stuff here? Flacco start. Okay, blah, 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 blah. All right. It was the second straight year of Stafanski making the move after doing so with Ken Dorsey in 2024 before firing him. By the end of this season, by the end of this season, the Browns offense ranked in the bottom 3 in the league in yards and points. And then there was Sanders, who was taken in the 5th round. You know the story about Sanders, yada, yada, yada. All right, we're going to give you a little bit of stats for Sanders. If my internet stopped jumping here. What do you got for Sanders? Okay. In 7 starts, Sanders had 1,400 passing yards. Let me just say it all out because it sounds better. In 7 starts, Sanders had 1,400 passing yards, 7 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. A few of those interceptions, were kind of like, hey, it was in the guy's hands. The other team wanted it a little bit more. They had a few thieves off the defensive side of the Cleveland Browns, the other side, and they knew how to take away stuff that people didn't want. Obviously, Cleveland didn't want the ball enough, so the other team just said, all right, I'll take it. You don't want it? I'll take it. Took 23 sacks and had a quarterback rating of 68.1, the lowest among qualifying quarterbacks. The Browns were selected in the top 10 of April's draft, but will likely be out of the range for a quarterback like Fernando Mendoza. Sources say the Browns are preparing for Sanders to be their starter next season, hoping to build around the quarterback and get better results in year number 2. All right. You said, yo, Harry. Hey, yo, Johnny Garland. Like Arlington. Garlington, what up, man? All right, so that is the information that, for those of y'all who need, statistics and information and whatnot, that is the readout. Now, let's talk a little bit more, guys, about the details and what's to come next. All right, I'm not going to be on here that long for you. I just wanted to make sure that I gave my community an opportunity, to talk this out. All right, so let's go, man. Let's talk about this. So I say this is conversations that we've been having, right? It's not anything strange. Stafanski kind of like, I don't know if he understood how to handle was he a Johnny Manziel guy, or was it more Baker Mayfield? Because Baker Mayfield and Johnny Manziel, those people have more of a Shedeur-esque, fan base, right? So you have Baker Mayfield, then you had Johnny Manziel. I don't think he was Johnny Manziel. I think Johnny Manziel was with the black guy, the black coach that was let go. I think so, because I was kind of like following the Cleveland Browns afar, not as close. You feel me? So, DC, I'll be with you in a second. Thank you so much for joining. Give me a second. So, yeah, now you have Stafanski, who had several high-profile quarterbacks like Watson and whatnot. Shedeur was a unique situation, though. Now, I don't know if I can blame or shoulder all of the blame on Stafanski. But again, the Cleveland Browns are a dysfunctional organization, and I don't know what to make of it, because we had several times to audit them, right? As a fan base, we can do our audits. We have our different, the ups, we have our different levels of the fan base. But if we were to just take everybody and kind of give you the average fan would have been something more like a Cleveland Browns fan. We just wanted I would say, the truth, right? I'm not talking about the far out deranged fans that like the aunties that their prayers were kind of like, okay, Shedeur can do nothing wrong. God is with only Shedeur. Dillon Gabriel, God doesn't know his name, right? And God was only going to bless Shedeur. The Cleveland Browns organization was a separate entity from Shedeur, and God was taking Shedeur and rocking him left and right. That fan, not that one. Then you had the hater who was strictly like, Shedeur sucks, no conversation. Nobody cares. He's not an NFL quarterback, yada, yada, yada. That's a hater, right? And then you have some middle ground people who are like, dang, Shedeur, like, bro, you can do better, bro. You know what I'm saying? Tuck the ball in. Bruh, step inside the pocket. Bruh, we love you, but come on, bro, you tripping. Like, what, you have those fan base. So if I was to give you the average Shedeur fan, we just wanted the truth. We just wanted to, you say there was a quarterback competition, but we saw no competition. Joe Flacco had already won the job with no snaps, no nothing, right? Kenny Pickett was getting snaps, and then we turn around, and then they're not there no more. It was weird. And then here comes the kicker. Here's the kicker. This is what was weird to me. And Tomlin, made a point to make sure that we understood what was going on. You told us that Flacco was number one in your pocket. If he was number one, that means you believed in him. He still had the ability to lead a team. So if he was your number one guy, why would you trade Flacco to the Cincinnati Bengals? They make no daggone sense. That was your number one guy, and you trade him to the competition. If he's good and you think he was your number one, you wouldn't trade him in the division, because he can disrupt the division. We want to get him far away from us, as far away from our division as possible, because touchdowns count. He can score those, right? So here we are. Kevin Stafanski is now gone. DC Carson Music, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you. How are you doing today, man?
Doing fantastic, brother. How about you? Happy New Year to you and to to the chat.
Happy New Year to you, brother. Thank you so much. Yes, American Freedom. Hugh Jackson was the black guy I was talking about. He was the coach that I think Manziel was under. I don't think Manziel was under Stefanski. So, yeah, I think that was Hugh Jackson. DC,
What up?
Stefanski's gone. The Shedeur fan base has done it. We've poisoned the waters enough to get him to creep up out of here. What are your thoughts?
All right.
Just give me a hot take. Let's start out with the hot take, and then we'll go in with questions and whatnot.
All right. So I can understand wanting to have him fired. But then when we start unpacking it, it's kind of like, all right, do I agree with him coming out saying, that it was a competition? No, that was absolutely not what you do. But I got some things as I unpacked the year. I sent you the text and stuff, but I've unpacked the Browns this year. The first time I really like dug down into it. Man, this is dysfunctional, which I already said it's the doo-doo Browns. But bro, let me ask you something. Okay,
Mhm.
so here's the thing. First thing I'm gonna say with Stefanski. Yes, you can fire him. I ain't married to him. You can. But think about it. Dude had the best defense in the NFL. So you don't have that if you are a sucky coach, right?
You said to have the best defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't think the coach has much to do with the roster. I think it's more the GM.
Right. So the point I'm making is that he had the weapons on the defensive side. He pretty much had Noah. We already knew that going in before even camp started. There was no weapons and the line was horrible. And then what did you wind up seeing, Harry B? That line was freaking horrible. And it kept getting hurt. I mean, last game you had to replace the center with somebody playing center. So
Mm-hmm.
I just think my hot take is that he's fired, but is this fixed? Is
What do you
this
mean? But is it
fixable?
fixed?
You fired him because you're saying for whatever reason, but now when you get somebody else, is this going to be fixed?
I don't
If
think you can
this,
answer those questions with the firing. The firing is not to say it's fixed. The firing is the beginning of the fixing it. That's
yeah,
where it starts. You start
yeah,
to fix it by getting rid of the guy that does not know how to handle high profile quarterbacks, that does not know how to handle high profile personalities.
yeah.
He
But
doesn't.
I
What
got
did I call
to.
him? Smart nuts? Like one of those weeks?
I guess, I guess, I guess, I gotta laugh at that one.
Oh
I
my
guess my thing
god.
is this: is that I would like to put it all on him, but I can't because like Stafanski didn't even know that Flacco was traded. Something was wrong with that. And why
I
would you
mean, do
have
you believe that though?
see that's what I'm saying. I
You
don't know.
believe that Stefanski didn't know that Flacco was about to be gone?
I put it to you like this.
I got a bridge if you want to, if you got
Ahead
some extra
well
money from
again,
Christmas.
but if put it to you like this, if I'm
Uh-huh.
in that position
Uh-huh.
and he was traded like that, I knew he was traded, that would be fine with me. But the fact that he actually came out and verbalized it, that would say to me there was some internal fighting. That had to have been. Why would you say it?
Well, yeah, right. Because there were too many there were too many with too many conflicting stories about who wanted Dillon Gabriel, who wanted Shedeur. So it's like I don't know when they got off the page and if there was even a page, but the stories were not making sense. It's
No.
like, okay, you got Mary Kay, you got your beat writers, you got the 93, the fan, 92, whatever the number is, right? You got those people all confused. It is not that hard to like get a cohesive message to your people, to your underlings, the people that do your talking, for the fan base and the public. It shouldn't be this hard for them to have one cohesive message. If you look around the Giants, the Jets, and New York, the New York media, like they're all in sync. All right, even New England media, they were all in sync. The Cleveland media had no idea, bro. You listen to one show the takes are all wild over here. This person got insiders that saying, oh, Mary Kay had an insider that said, oh, his job is safe. Now he's not safe. What the heck was going on? And why was there no cohesive message?
That man's job was not safe. He was not going to be there this year. At the end of this year, I'm trying to sit here and say, like, I look at it this way, but like when Flacco started, which I understand why, and then you get rid of him at 4 games, that doesn't make any sense to me. I think to a point where if you had played him an entire year, more than likely, plus or minus a game, it probably would have turned out the same result with the same record. But then to go from saying, I'm going to get rid of this veteran that has been here before that took me to the playoffs, and I'm going to leave myself with 2 rookies, that's unusual. That doesn't make any sense. That tells me there probably was some infighting there as well. And then, Dillon gets hurt. Shedeur comes in and completes the year out. And I don't necessarily, I know we'll eventually get into what did they do with him, but it just did not make any sense. None of this made any sense.
Well, again, when you're saying makes sense, what part of once we got to Cleveland and we started asking basic football questions, let you know that any of it was going to make sense?
I didn't think none of it was going to make sense at all. Like I said, that from the get-go, I was like, hey, this is the Browns. They don't have no weapons, the X, Y, and Z. I expected, put it like this, I expected to see some dysfunction, but bro, were you expecting to see this level?
Bro, that's
I
why
wasn't
I
expecting it.
stayed confused all the way through. All the way through. They didn't make it easy for the layman to learn the process. They didn't make it easy because it was all convoluted.
And
There was
Harry B,
no left or right about it. Your left brain could not communicate with your right brain. There was nothing that you can extrapolate to say, oh, okay, I see why they did that. Because now Kevin Stefanski is gone. So if he's gone, now the whole thing is like, oh, okay. It was a
and,
mess. It's
and
a
see here,
it's a confirmation that it was a mess because Kevin Stefanski is gone.
right? Because, like, for example, I'm legacy. I got Brian Sipe and Bernie Kosar football cards and stuff. And I was like, all these years of watching football, I was like, I ain't never seen nothing like this ever. Even when my Cowboys were sucking, even when other teams have had their struggles, I'd never seen anything like this. By the way, they did fire the Falcons coach too, not too long ago. They fired
Yeah,
him.
they went. Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw something online. They were
Raheem
hugging, and
Morris.
two
Right,
hours later,
right.
he was fired.
Right, and the sad thing is, even thinking, just beyond the Browns, just like with Jackson Dart, they fired Dayball, the Giants did, and then with Cam Ward having to deal with his coach Callahan being fired. So you had
Mhm.
these firings go on, and it's like, all right, but it didn't compare to what the heck, man. I don't even know. Like I'm sitting up here going, like I know Dillon didn't go deep, throw a lot of deep balls, but
Mhm.
like in the beginning of the year, even throwing them to Judy and he was dropping them, and then the time that Shedeur would throw it to him, and I mean, you letting people snatch the ball right, man. You don't never. I remember one time I ran out for a pass and I caught it, and it was like a joint possession where we both have it. But
Mhm.
then I stood up, and so the ref went where the ball goes to the guy that the defensive back, and my daddy was like, "You don't ever let anybody take no ball from you." I said, "I had it. I just got it." He said, "Nope. You keep it until they tell you to get up." So when Judy just let the dude snatch the stuff away and some of the stuff, man, like I said, I'm never seeing anything like this ever. And then the coaching decisions and the stuff. Because like even to a point where you notice this, like when Dillon was playing, they had a run game. Then restart calling it, and the run game just seemed to disappear. And it's going, no, you needed that for Shador. That's why the interceptions went up because they knew you were going to pass, and they can confuse you as a rookie. So he was not prepared for that.
So look. I don't know what transpired, but it was obvious that Stefanski was not interested in Shedeur being his quarterback.
Right.
But then in the end, when he realized that Shedeur could play the game, it seemed like there was some type of camaraderie building there. So, what sense does it make where you didn't even give the guy a chance, and all of a sudden, then you wanted to give him a chance? I mean, I don't know if he was part of the dysfunction. He was just trying to survive, or he just doesn't know how to. Like, you know how some people can do one thing, but the other thing is just hard for them. Like, he can coach, but he can't personnel manage. He doesn't know how to, like Phil Jackson, where he knows how to manage personalities, right? You bring in Dennis Rodman, even though you knew he was a lightning rod, but you know that he was a partier. He's going to wear wedding dresses and makeup and paint his nails. So that was a whole nother personality that you had to deal with. Michael Jordan with his bloated ego and everything that you had to deal with him. Scottie Pippen feeling like he's a third wheeler. All of those things come together to make a team, and you have to hold that locker room together. What locker room is Stefanski about to go in to manage? It ain't just about just saying X's and O's. Yes, they keep saying that you are a X's and O's guys, but it's also just as important to be able to manage personalities. Was Kevin Stefanski a personality manager that you even could smell?
No, I don't think so. But I mean,
That's
I would
part of the
say,
job.
but I would say in football, nobody wants to manage it if you're not winning. That's the unfortunate part of it.
But
Nobody
that's
wants to
how
deal
you
with it.
win, though. You say if you're not winning, but that's how you win. Because if you can take all of those personalities and bring them, get them all in sync and say, okay, let's, for the better of our checks, whatever our motivations are, you know what I'm saying? For the betterment of our checks and our livelihoods and your whatever incentives you have built into your contract, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I'm gonna make sure you and this person hang out. I'm taking a page or several pages out of the Phil Jackson playbook and say, hey man, if you want to win, you're going to have to deal with these personalities and learn how to bring them all together in that locker room so that you can win. Okay, let me ask you this question, DC. I know the popular answer is no. I'm already prepared I already know the answer. Do you think the Cleveland Browns had at least 3 more games, W's in them from that specific team, changing nothing?
No.
Tell me why you don't think so. Because I think they did. I think they had at least 3 more W's in there. And if they knew how to control the locker room, they could have got those W's. But tell me why you think there was no. You don't think you could have saw 3 more W's out of them?
I will look at the offense. Most of your productivity was rookies, right?
Yes,
So
for the most
so
part, because I think a lot of the veterans were hurt.
right. So the thing is, if you notice, the rookies were still learning some things, and I think that what at the beginning of the year, that and then not to mention they had a tough schedule, bro. I mean, they had a lot of teams that was on the cusp of playoffs or that in the playoffs. So I don't think maybe one more game, maybe, but because that schedule was hard and because they had so many rookies, it was the defense that kept them in. Because if they had not had that defense, I'm not even that it would have they would have lost a lot more. So I think that maybe one, two, but maybe 3 or 4 more. I can't see that.
But that's what I'm saying. I said the team as it is. You can't.
Yeah.
You're not going to subtract one aspect of the team. It's a team, right? Their defense was going to be instrumental in their wins and losses. You know, they scored. They won the game yesterday.
Well, check this out. You look at like the thing that most rookies deal with is they are not used to 17 games, and in college it's generally 12 games and you might play a bowl game, and you're not getting hit by NFL players. So if you notice, like near the end of the year, all the rookies start getting hurt. Fannin, Judkins, all of that kind of stuff because there was wear and tear on them. And a lot of folks that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. It wasn't to a point that they didn't have some of the pieces. I see where you're going with it. It's just that because it was so rookie heavy, that's it. Now I think you've got some promising things to come back. I mean, because think about it, they got rid of Nick Chubb, and when Judkins came in, the other thing was, if you remember, that Judkins was dealing with a charge, so he wasn't at rookie camp, and he didn't really get into the fall camp, so he was still catching up. The same thing with Isaiah Bond. Isaiah Bond didn't have any rookie camp, nor did he have a training camp. So he started to get better. So those are the things I saw that was like, well, if they had them all at rookie camp and training camp, then I probably could go with you on that theory.
So okay, so go with me on this, even though they didn't have no rookie camps. And Jeffrey, I see you. Hassan, I see you. Okay, there was 2 games during the season where the Cleveland Browns were just, seconds away from winning the game, but then they ended up losing it down the stretch. The play calling, Stafanski gave up play calling to his OC, right? Why are we giving up play calling so late in the season? And why is it that you don't trust your OC? Because if the way that I see it is, if you have an organization that is, I would say, hitting on all cylinders, you can actually win games from motivating your people, because it doesn't take much motivation. When the organization is split and is dysfunctional and there is no head, there's no order, everybody's going to be fighting for self, right? The Cleveland Browns had a situation where their offense was not terrible. It's hard for people to believe this. The offensive line, if we didn't have to, if whoever the left tackle was did not get hurt, and we had to bring in that, I don't know when they did the move, but the Cleveland Browns could have actually won 3 more games, because you had Shedeur playing well, but then something happened with the play calling in the second half of every single game. They come out doing well. The second half, they fall asleep. Like, the motivation to win just goes away, and they just start making bad decisions.
Well, that's because, like, most of the time, especially with rookies, you have pre-scripted plays, and they run them well because they've been running them all during the week.
Doing
When you
practice,
get
right?
right, so then when you get there, the first half looks good. What winds up happening is that the defense adjusts to you, and they're like, okay, I see what they're doing. I see what his strengths are, their weaknesses are. So we're going to do stuff. So then they start disguising blitzes and different things like that. And then, you start seeing confusion. And, Shedeur, like, I ain't no punk. I'm finna just slang this thing and, or what it is. And then that kind of gets you into trouble with interceptions and sacks. But whereas Dillon, he's just going to throw it away real quick, or, the pocket collapses on him. So I think the thing that's what wind up happening is that's just kind of like you heard me say that, is that I don't dog rookie QBs out because they have to deal with so much, learning the playbook, learning all the other things that come with it. Even if you do get first team reps, you're dealing with people. You're dealing with think about how many times did you see QBs get caught from behind by a defensive lineman? Because them dudes are big and fast. So I don't see the 3 games, but I see where you're coming from with it, and I can, we can agree to disagree on that. But I do see where you're coming from with it.
Look at the game where those 2 points could have been like a W. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get to a point where, bro, if you just kick a regular field goal, not a field goal, but a PAT, right? Point after, now you're down 7. Shedeur comes back, gives you 7. The game is tied. Or, okay, you didn't do that. We get to the point where we finally do exactly what we were talking about. We get 2 points. You take Shedeur out, you put in dudes that can't handle the ball. Boom, the ball gets fumbled. So I would say that, okay, that's a W. That's one more win. that he fumbled or a possible win that he fumbled. There were just coaching mistakes that were made that it felt weird. It wasn't like, okay, they lost the game outright. It just feels like, something wasn't correct. Like mentally something was going on. And it didn't feel right. Like, let's say if you have Mike Tomlin on that sideline and we had that situation, or we had those situations that was going on, I feel like there's no way that those mistakes that we were watching, I don't feel like those mistakes will happen. It just felt so weird, and I don't know how to explain it. It just didn't feel correct. You know what I'm saying?
I can see. Now, I will say this. I'm not sure if you could have got it with Shedeur or Dillon. I'm not 100% sure. I think I would be more inclined to believe you could have got those 3 games with Flacco, though, because of his experience. And the
Well, what
way
about
that,
the decision? What about the decision to go for two when you only needed one?
bro, I don't get why they did that at all. It made no sense.
Shador
I
was
mean,
in the game.
that it made no sense to do that at that time. To me,
Right.
it would to
There
a
was no
point
there
kick
was
it,
no reason for us to go for two.
right, kick it,
You know,
and
Hassan
then
said
if
they
you
were playing for draft picks, but you know what I'm saying? Like those are some of the narratives that we came up with ourselves. But it was like you went for two when we didn't even, there was no motivation to go for two. It was just like, okay, it was just a natural kick the PAT. Like, let's just get the PAT and move on. You went for two. Out of the blue,
yeah,
you just went for two.
yeah, I agree. I don't think you go for two unless you need to,
Right.
and pun intended. And
Exactly. It makes there's a lot of things that didn't make sense to me. And I'm still scratching my head from week to week. I'm just like, well, why did he do that? And then there was no other option besides Cam Robinson. No other option.
that
Like,
line was old and aging, and that line needs to be, and it's going to be revamped. But like some people are sitting here saying, well, you can draft a whole bunch of offensive linemen. It's that, hold on, I would say that it's that one of the things you got to look at is that, again, you're going to be using rookies, so there's still a learning curve right there. And then most teams don't let good tackles go. Most teams will keep them. So the Browns tackle issue is probably not going to be fixed next year. It'll be better, but it won't be completely fixed. The guard, the center, there's some things they can move some stuff around. You can get it. You can, but this is supposed to be a not other than a few players, not the best draft for tackles.
We just found out
you said
a
draft
couple
for
seconds ago.
offensive tackles,
Yeah, this is supposed not to be a strong draft for that. So
but the need is not. We don't even need a strong tackle, bro. You just
what they
need a
need,
serviceable tackle. You just need somebody who can just do the job, just a basic job.
they need some
So you
people
don't
that
get
can
pushed
move.
with one finger. You can't no way you getting pushed with one finger backwards, bro.
They need to have people that can you really need to establish that running game. That is number one. I know the focus is on, who's going to be the QB, and everybody have competing opinions, but the main thing is you've got to get a line and get it so that you can run the ball, because that gives you the opportunity to control the clock. It also gives you the opportunity where you're not sitting there and doing something for 2 points. You're trying to run freaking wildcat. That doesn't make any sense to me, but to each their own. Um, the end of the day is, if do have to do it, I would at least want to have a running threat. You already know Judkins is going to run the ball. The play is
Right,
dead. So what are we doing it? I was going, what are you doing? And then we tried to throw it past. I'm going, dude, did you really just ask for a running back? That again wasn't really all in camp to get out here and throw that pass. No, no. They need to have a running game, and they need to so they don't put the demand upon any rookie to play hero ball.
right. Let's get Shador's reaction, then we can react and get up out of here.
Shedeur, we know what you said yesterday after the game about Captain and how much you learned from him and sort of understanding each other. What's your reaction to the news that he's no longer the coach?
We just found out a couple seconds ago. I think it's just overall the mentality, like things gonna happen. That's just how the league is. And moving forward, just focus on what we can improve, individually, uh, for the next head coach.
Shedeur, do you think you did enough to show everybody, or I guess show Andrew Berry that you should be the starter heading into 2026?
Um, I think I did what I was able to do, and I definitely grew from a lot of things, and I got experience now. So I'm always the same, like confidence wise. I'm there, but like that's not in my hands. Like that's not my decisions. I can't speak on what other people feel.
All right. So, what do you think? Let me get your thoughts on. You can do body language. You can do the answer. Whatever you want to do. What's your thoughts on what he how he's handling that?
Bro, I gotta be honest with you. I'm impressed how he has shifted. Now I know what he wanted to say. It's his body language was wanting to say something else. I wanted to say, heck yeah, I should be running the show. That's what I got. The body language like, man, look, I want to say what I want to say, but I can't say what I want to say. So let me say the PR train answer because he knew it was coming. So
Uh-huh.
I'm impressed by that, the way he do it. And then because you want to keep it kind of vanilla because you don't know who the coach is going to be. Do I believe he knew? Heck yeah. Come on now, Shedeur. You knew, but I'm impressed. I'm going to tell you that he has grown on some things, man. Well, that's why I guess they call him grown. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, is he had to answer that way because you don't know who the coach is going to be. And I like the fact that you can see the maturity coming from it. But is that what he wanted to say? No, that's not what Shedeur wanted to say.
I mean, I think a lot of people would say a lot of different things because knowing what he went through when the coach did not even give you an opportunity to compete for the job. I mean, that's hard to go through. But again, like you said, I think at a certain point they learn from, oh, this is the NFL. It's a body of 32 men and sprinkle in a few women who own these teams, and they're going to do whatever they want to do. And if you want to be a part of it, you better fall in line, or you can be left out, looking in very quickly.
Let me tell you
So,
something. I want to say this real quick while we're here.
mhm.
Is that is so critical because I understand the Shedeur love. I get it. But you have to understand when you start becoming a little bit too big or too vocal. Unfortunately, NFL works like for give you an example. Why Tim Tebow, when you come with the crowd and once you're not the man, you're gone. Unfortunately, the same thing kind of happened to Kaepernick, and then there's a reason why 40-year-old Philip Rivers got an opportunity to go play for the Colts and Cam Newton didn't.
Mhm.
And Cam said it himself. He said, because they don't want the circus.
Right.
So continue, bro.
Yeah, but I think he had to make that shift, and I think his team realized that he had to get the corporate side of it and understand. Keep your verbiage, keep it on the corporate aspect of it, and you will be fine. And I think that's what he's been doing. Like I saw this shift because he came in having a lot of fun being Shedeur, and then all of a sudden there was a shift. You saw, like you can see, there was a shift to let's keep it corporate. Let's understand that the NFL is a business. Is this the best or this the ideal situation to be in? It's not. But as long as you keep it corporate and understand the fact that, hey man, this is a team and ain't nobody, ain't no one person going to be, above the organization. Once he made that switch, it was now the rest of the stuff becomes easier to handle. Now everything, there's no more personal answers. It's like, oh, it's a business. You see what I'm saying? Hey man, we got if it's a restaurant business, hey man, we got some chicken left over. We can either lower the price on the chicken dishes so we can get them up out of here because they're gonna spoil in 5 days, or we can keep the price at $50 a bowl and these chickens go bad, we got to get rid of them in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So it's like once you understand, like, oh, okay, Kevin Stefanski is just like me. He has to, he has to answer to Jimmy Haslam and his partner, and any of us can go at any time. When you realize that Shedeur made that shift, man, you can see the difference night and day. We went from hearing stuff about, hey, man, I'm getting opportunities to now it was like, oh, all right, it's a business. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, you can see that. And I'm so happy for him. Let's answer this question, then we can go. Shedeur's the starter. What coach and what type of system works best for him? If he's the starter, I'm just saying, hey, Peter, what's up with you? If Shedeur's the starter, what coach and what system works best for Shedeur? And is there any possibility that Deion Sanders steps into this picture?
I hope. I'm not sure Prime will step into this picture. I'm not sure, and probably for Shedeur's best interest, that might not be what he will want to have. If it's very vocal. I mean, of course, Dad, you can do stuff, but I think that he probably needs to continue where he is with the offense that I think Shedeur will work best in. I know he didn't do that in college, but that allows him to hand the ball off, get yardage, a little dink and dunk, and then take his shots. I think that's going to work best for him because you're not trying to get him to get out there and just run around the field and make something happen, because the longer you do that, that's going to, in the NFL, is going to put you on a cart coming off the field. And you've seen a lot of that. You do not want to do that. I mean, it's good that he can extend the play, but imagine trying to extend the play with Myles Garrett coming at you. You don't want to do that. So I think he does need to be in one. But I got a theory I was thinking about before I jumped on here. I wouldn't be surprised if he got traded to Green Bay or San Francisco.
So you think they get rid of Stafanski and then get rid of Shedeur?
I think that they may want to trade to get, because you got two rookies. I think they may want to trade him or Gabriel, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Shedeur to trade for, if it's the Green Bay, it's to get Malik Willis, and they would have to give up some draft picks. If it's to 49ers, it will be trading to get Mac Jones. And I think the 49ers system for Shedeur, dude, perfect. That system would work for him.
What about the Miami system? Because people are rumors out there that their coach might be coming to Cleveland.
That would work for him too. But the problem is, so here's the thing with McDonald's system. Shedeur can sling it, but the problem is that the risk is you taking hits. That's why Tua was getting all them concussions. So that's my concern with Shedeur. If he gets it, the guy can run an offense that Shedeur will do phenomenal with it, but it puts you more at risk for concussions.
But that means, I mean, you talking about extending plays and waiting for wide receivers to get open.
Yeah, or like more so taking more deep shots. I mean, they had Tyreek Hill, so they were able to sling it. But that's my concern, is that the way his offense run, you have to have a line. Like, put it like this: when he first came in, they had the line to do it, and then when they did not have the line to it, Tua was getting tore up. They started winning more this year because their line is better again. We already know what the Browns line is, so I think the offense works for him, but bro, you get towed up in it. So that's my concern.
Peter Investor M says needs to fire OC. First of all, if a new coach is coming, he's bringing his own system.
Absolutely,
he's bringing his own people. I don't think this is going to be a Colorado's type of situation where you're going to plug a coach out of a system with its own people and then say, okay, we're keeping everybody else. You just come and work with them. That'll be tragic. I don't know any coach that would agree to that on a professional level. That would be tragedy. That would be like, oh, Lord, you're going to have to work with Stefanski's guys?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Like, Yeah, I don't see that happening. So Peter, yeah, the OC. I mean, this is just the the domino's about to start falling. So this is just the first part of the domino that's going to start falling. We obviously know that that the GM is going to stay. So now it's going to be upon him to bring in that next coach and say, "Hey man, who do you need? And let me get you whatever." He's going to have his grocery list of things that he wants to shop for, which is probably going to be his own people, bringing in his own people.
Right, and that's the hard part about it. That's why I'm kind of pausing from saying anything too in depth, because it's like you need to see who comes in and what they historically do. Like when Hugh Jackson left, and then they brought in Stefanski, and they brought in Watson. There were some flashes, but it was just not good. Though Stefanski was considered to be a great coach. So it's gonna be all depends. Like Shedeur has to sit there. If it's somebody that is not going to, utilize him, or even as a system where they will utilize him, because I still think it's gonna be a quarterback competition in the camp, then I would definitely be talking to my agent going, get me up out of here ASAP. And I know most of the fans want him to get up out of there anyway.
So if Tommy Reese is staying, then I mean, you can't just let a guy stay because you like him. You let him stay if he can work with whoever you're bringing in. I mean, I don't know who Tommy Reese has worked with, in the previously that will, incentivize them to say, okay, let's bring in the people that he knows. But why would you keep Tommy Reese and bring in a new head coach and say, okay, you got to work with Tommy Reese? That don't make no sense. And I'm going back to the story, trying to see if the stories, if CBS Sports says anything about Tommy Reese staying.
Let me ask you something. Do you know where Tommy Reese was before he went to the Browns?
That's what I was just saying.
I will tell you where he was.
Where?
He was the offensive coordinator for Bama. I know who he is well.
Wait, so Tommy comes straight from Nick Saban?
Yeah. He sure does.
Well,
he developed Jalen
hasn't
Milroe.
there been like rumors of Nick Saban going to the NFL?
There has, but he was the one who helped develop Jalen Milroe. Tommy Reese was. You can't see how that went, but I mean,
right. But we can't keep Tommy Reese and then plug and just it says Tommy Reese will.
Yeah, I know exactly who he is though. Yeah, because we won the SEC championship, and then he went on to the Browns. But some people were saying that it was partly because you know how Saban, you can do well, but Saban wants you to be championship all the way. So, I think maybe there was some things with not happy how Jalen Milroe. I mean, I know you love Jalen Milroe because he can extend the play with his feet like none other. But yeah, he was at Bama, so he understands. Well, put it like this: he done been under a coach who knows what winning football looks like.
But I believe in synergy, and
but if he stays there, bro, then there's an indicator. And Haslam loves Saban, loves him, because there was talk about that before. But I will tell you this: if Shedeur gets Saban, he gonna be all right.
But that will be a whole nother show. I'm gonna have to come back on because now I'm going like so many questions will come up in my head. Because right now, as I'm sitting here thinking about the fact that Nick Saban is the stickler for the process, and then Shedeur coming from a Coach Prime, where they're kind of like they're on those commercials together. I don't know. Wouldn't it be a Stefanski-esque type of situation for him? Because I don't know if Nick Saban wants a Shedeur for his quarterback.
But like this, if he does, but Nick Saban did recruit Shedeur though. Remember?
But he recruited him, but he never played for him.
Well, because I think he did. Shedeur wanted to start. That was the issue. Shedeur was looking for a place to start. That's why he looked at FAU, and then Dad gets there, and then he goes to JSU. I will tell you this: if Nick Saban likes him, then I will absolutely have to line up what you saying, elite and legendary. I'm being that serious about it. If Nick Saban says, nope, this is my guy, I'm gonna be right there with you, Harry B. I don't think that happens, but if it did, that would probably be the best thing that ever happened to him, other than being his daddy being prime.
Let's take out Nick Saban and put in and dream of a coach that will give you that same feeling. Name a coach that will give you that same feeling. If it wasn't Saban,
Like a Kirby Smart.
get out of the college. Those guys are not leaving. Let's just get to the NFL ranks, or somebody sitting at home right now in their drawers that you would bring in, and you would say, okay, if this person is paired with Shedeur Sanders, then that legendary thing might just happen right after all.
I gotta be honest with you. There is a person out there, but he took another job. That's Lane Kiffin would have Shedeur.
Another college.
I
You're
know,
not willing to leave
man.
the college ranks
I can't think of a good NFL coach out there. Let me think.
for Shedeur. Like John Gruden, anyone? Like they ain't gotta be coaching
not-
currently. It could be
What-
somebody who's dormant right now.
Put it like this: would I think John Gruden be good for Shedeur? Yes. Do I think the Browns hire him? Heck no.
Because of the
I don't
problem.
think so. Yeah. That's why I'm not mentioning him, because it's like it's not just me picking somebody that would be good. It's also somebody that is actually in play. And I'm looking around the NFL. I don't think anybody really leaves their situation. Maybe Mike McDonald does. I do think that would be good for him as far as schematics. They just need to make sure that line is good. Mike McDonald will probably be good for him.
So Mike is the only one that you're thinking like, man, if Mike can get Shedeur, then they're looking at playoffs.
Well, see, a Mike McDonald is probably going to really definitely have a battle if they keep Gabriel, make the two rookies battle. That's going to happen. But as far as who else,
you don't think he saw enough in Dillon Gabriel he would want to see for himself?
I think he would want to see, because like I know we look at, like, Shedeur has more numbers, but unfortunately, when you have that the deep ball throw, that does have you more propensity for sacks and interceptions. So sometimes that stuff balances out. I think that the people that will like Dillon is because they want somebody who will play in structure. Shedeur is better playing outside of structure, where he's going with gut feeling, but that don't always work. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like with Jameis Winston, it was good at that type of stuff, but again, he was also a turnover machine. That's the thing about playmakers. They'll, sometimes they can be interception prone. But I think Michael McDonald would work for him. I can't think of another guy. I mean, Pete Carroll's retiring. I thought that probably would have been a good one for him, because he helped develop Russell Wilson. I can't really think of a coach out there that would go to the Browns. It's going to be a college coach, more than likely.
Oh, so you think they're about to plug a college coach out of the college ranks and bring him up?
Well, it might be a good OC that they pick. That could happen.
Dang, an OC, Lord have mercy.
They could take an OC and make the heck of. But what do you think the Browns need in that spot? Because, like, I know we were saying that Stafanski didn't like, could say that Stafanski didn't like Shedeur, but I'm not sure it wasn't the owner that didn't like him, but eventually had to be warmed up to him.
Well, I mean, we'll see in the coming weeks, because if Stafanski's gone and Shedeur is still there, then it seems like we have a plan for Shedeur. Right now, we're all going to speculate because it's the Browns. Anything can happen, even right up until the time where we say hike. You can never count anything out with the Browns.
Well, you know what the first question they're gonna ask? That one of the first three questions they're gonna ask the head coach is what? I know what you would ask.
Do you like Shedeur? What do you think about Shedeur? Do you like him? Do you want to go in the draft and pick somebody, or do you want to work with Shedeur? Has he shown you enough? Is it along those lines? Something?
Yeah. I think you can sit back and say, do you see anyone there that you're going to put him? Now, if he comes out there and says, "Well, I can tell you, day one, that Shedeur is my QB1," then that's a win for the fans. Do I think that happens? No. But if that does happen, that's a win for the fans, and that basically is Barry and Haslam said, "This is your starter."
Now, according to the Browns fans, Jeffrey Champion, he said with all the coaches that are available right now, he doesn't think there's anyone that's better than Kevin Stefanski.
I got to be honest with you. I kind of agree with that.
And
Real talk.
Tim Smith Dallas is in the building. What up, Tim?
What up, Tim?
I can push back on that. I'll give you a 50 and throw 50 away. And this is the throwaway. Because when you're talking about better has to include personality control. X's and O's can kind of be, could be kind of like tossed up because you need personnel to see. Geniuses are not necessarily born in the NFL. Geniuses are, or in any sport. I don't think geniuses are born. I think geniuses come out of situations. Right? Because if you take Michael Jordan away from Phil Jackson, he's no longer a genius. If you take Tom Brady away from Belichick, he's no longer a genius. You see what I'm saying? So geniuses come with personnel, right? So with that being said, Kevin Stefanski could be an offensive-minded coach, but he does not know how to handle personalities. And when you are talking about millions and millions of dollars with grown men, then I think you got to put a big percentage of personality control and locker room control. You got to put a high premium on the person that can handle that. And then the X's and O's can pretty much fall in lines from there. Because everybody's going to come with X's and O's. That is what the job is about, right? So I don't think you need a genius. Just like take any college football team that's top 10. They don't freaking need a Tom Brady. They just need a freaking a serviceable quarterback because they have the system already. They just need somebody who has the mind and the will to win. Am I on the right track there?
I get what you're saying, and I agree with the personality thing, but it's not a normal thing to have, the microphones being stuck into your second or third string QB's face, and that's going to irritate almost any head coach. If it was a starter, I would agree with you. A bona fide, that guy, you have already identified that person as the starter. But when you have a rookie and then you're still trying to work through your process and everybody's sticking the microphone in your face to ask you about that versus asking you about the team as a whole and Flacco, I could see how that he got irritated, but it probably took him a moment to kind of adjust to it.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to work this out in my head because I'm like, okay, a person that I'm setting aside the X's and O's, right? Need a Alpha J or whoever that is. Will Kaepernick be a nice backup? Let's set that aside for a second. You coming in swinging, my guy. You coming in hot. Yeah, you coming in way hot.
You ain't locking,
right?
Man, you want to talk about? You just talking about coaches and celebrity stuff, bro.
You coming in way hot. You coming in 50 miles per hour in a 25-mile zone.
You ain't lying. You coming in Trump on Venezuela hot. I mean,
no, okay. But my football brain is telling me, well, let me just say my management brain, not my football brain. My management brain with a little bit of football added to it is telling me that if you can get a coach that knows how to handle the media and knows how to put out fires, you know what I'm saying? I'm just thinking about the idea of the X's and O's just being like, that is a given, right? I'm not saying I don't want you to take me out of context and saying, oh, you don't really need a good coach. I'm saying the X's and O's with the NFL coaches are given, right?
Right.
Just like if you get a linesman, he should be a decent linesman. He should know how to, his footwork should be on point. Like the things that you don't necessarily have to be like, oh my gosh, he has an elite footwork. I just need his footwork to be a linesman's footwork. So you take the coaching situation and you say, hey man, we need somebody who's as good with X's and O's as Kevin Stefanski. I say, no, you don't. I say you need a personnel manager, right? Somebody that knows how to handle the the personalities in the locker room. Somebody who's a man's man that can take a locker room full of, alpha testosterone males who are making millions of dollars and wrangle them and bring them in line to play football. If you can get that person, the X's and O's will handle itself because they're not the play caller. You see what I'm saying? It's like then they go out and get their OC, whoever that person is, and they talk about how we're going to work with the talent that we have or what talent we need to bring in here to make this thing work. So I don't think we need to have somebody better or even as good as Kevin Stefanski. You just need somebody who's better than him on the part that he definitely sucked at. He does not know how to handle big personalities.
Well,
As a matter of fact, he folded.
I gotta disagree with that. I'm gonna disagree with that for this.
Okay.
Because if you look at it, he has Myles Garrett on his team.
Okay.
That's a big personality. He was able to manage that pretty well.
No, but Myles Garrett did not come with the circus. Myles Garrett was a defensive player that people celebrated, but there was nothing about Myles Garrett that moved the needle. It was just he didn't have. There was no circus. There's nothing to deal with when it comes to Myles Garrett. There was not his fan base are not moving no needle. His fan base was not anything. Nobody's checking for Myles Garrett on anything.
But what they should be checking on it, I think you just have to, like, for example, well, put it to you like this. All right, so here's the thing. I'm not dissing the fans, but I am going to sit here and say.
It's the circus. We know it's the circus, so let's deal with that.
Yeah, so if you're voting for Shedeur for Pro Bowl and you don't have just as many numbers for Myles Garrett, that does kind of make you go, okay, like, what are we doing, folks? This dude is like one of the greatest defensive players of all time. And Shedeur hadn't even played 4 games when we were doing it. That is a lot for any coach to manage. I don't think any coach probably isn't like, even if I was a coach, as PC I try to be, I probably would sit back and say, hey, y'all, I got it. Shedeur, wrist up. My wrist is up too. But I got a guy over here that's about to break a record. And I think that needs to be the focus.
But that
would be me.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. That's what you're saying. You should have
a fan base that anybody has to deal with. So there ain't nothing there. Jerry Jeudy doesn't have a fan base that anybody has to deal with. None of that. I'm talking about when I say personality management, I'm talking about managing the expectations that come with their fan bases, and as high profile as Shedeur Sanders is, this dude did not know how to incorporate Shedeur's fan base into the fan base of the Cleveland Browns. That's why we were at odds. We were at odds for so long because he told us to kick rocks.
I don't know.
He was not even mentioning Shedeur's name in interviews. Dude was not even looking in Shedeur's direction. He wasn't addressing anything Shedeur. Everything was, I'm trying to focus on Dillon Gabriel. I'm trying to focus on Dillon Gabriel.
But that was the right thing to do. That's the right thing to do.
That's what I'm saying. That means that you don't know how to manage the $1 million or let's just say the 10-point-something million people that came for Shedeur. You told them to kick rocks. That means you don't know how to handle them.
I got to disagree. If Dillon is my quarterback and that's what I've decided, then I have to make sure that Dillon knows I am behind him 100%.
No, so I'm saying I agree with you, DC. I agree with you. But the coach that I'm talking about, the Phil Jackson, the Mike Tomlin, like Alpha J said, the Mike Tomlins, also Tim said, those people, they know how to handle the personalities and the fan bases. He would have said, well, Dillon Gabriel is my guy, and I'm trying to focus on Dillon Gabriel, but we understand that we also have another young gun who's Shedeur, and he comes with a very high profile, a fan base, right? Or he's very high profile. They know how to talk to the audience. They know how to talk to the fan base and make sure that the fan base just hear a few words that makes them happy. Like, oh, we welcome y'all. We want y'all here. We want y'all to be part of this process, just like we are part of this process. We are all family because the fan base are the ones that fill the seats if you want them.
Let me ask you this:
Yeah.
if he was to stand up there and say, "Dillon is our QB, he's playing," but yeah, I know I got another young gun in this room that's promising and stuff like that. Do you think that would have squashed it or put fuel on the fire? I'm gonna go with fuel
That
on the
would have
fire.
been the mature thing to do to let the Shedeur fan base know that you recognize them, right? So that they feel respected, so that they feel like they're part of the process, so that they feel like, okay, you're welcoming us to Cleveland. If you tell the Shedeur fan base that there's going to be a competition and there's no competition, and then when the B writers who know Shedeur's fan base because they have to deal with them on Twitter and on other socials, right? Those beat writers are trying to do a job, and then sometimes they ask questions about how we are feeling and what we're saying out there. If you know how to handle that, you will welcome that. You will say, "Yeah, we're giving Shedeur all the all the time that we can that the NFL affords us to give him, and we're going to try to make sure that he's up to speed." Right? The head coach has to be able to welcome everyone by saying words that matters. But Stafanski, he told us to kick rocks, bro. He never answered any Shedeur questions. Took nothing. He just ignored them and says, "I'm focused on Dillon Gabriel. I'm focused on Dillon Gabriel." So I said, "Oh, okay, then you kick rocks, smart nuts." That's why I like he pissed me off so much. My Christian voice, I had to tell my Christian side to sit down so I can call this guy smart nuts
Yeah,
because he don't know how to handle nothing.
but Nick Saban does the same type of stuff. People will ask him, "Well, what about your backup?" And like, because you had the Jalen Hurts and Tua thing, is that he get all into to that stuff like that. Most coaches put it like this: most coaches are not going to address it. They're going to keep it at the focus. I
Now,
get
when
what
you
you're
have
saying.
now when you have an elephant in the room,
I wouldn't
somebody,
address it.
I said smart nuts is on point. Leave smart nuts alone.
Small nuts is no point.
I got out of pocket. I was like, man, I was so pissed. I was like, he got a smart nuts.
Well, let me ask you this then, see, because you we're saying it
Uh-huh.
from that standpoint that a fan wants to hear. All right. So let's say, for example, he did that.
Mm-hmm.
And that then Shedeur came in and Shedeur uh did great, it would be good. He comes in and he plays horrible. And now he's got to bench him. What do you think happens after that?
That's fine, man. Like Shadeur's fan base are mature people who understand football. You know what I'm saying? Like the majority of Shedeur fan base understand football. We got tired of Shedeur stinking up the place. So I think people just mistake the aunties for all of Shadeur's fan base. Right? The aunties are not, they're not a majority. The majority of the Shadeur's fan base are actually football people that are level-headed football people. The aunties make a lot of noise because they are belligerent. You see what I'm saying? That's why it gets to people like you. It gets to people like the 93 fans, and then that's when they start, you know what I'm saying? They start reacting negatively.
Well, I
Because
think that
because I think people, you know how people say, "Hey, you're hearing a lot of positive things and a lot of positive Shedeur fans, but
mhm.
you're only focusing on the most negative people."
I get that. I just think that I get what you're saying. And I understand why a fan would want that. But I also understand, if you're in that management or you're in that leadership, and this guy that I have behind is my second or third string one, that just the fact that normally they don't even get to talk to the media. So I think it was to a point where it was like, well, it could be. I'm not saying it was, but it could be, okay, I want to control this, but I have to be careful I don't feed it and then to a point where I can never turn it off. Because I think about it, this thing eventually turned to a point where Dillon Gabriel came in the game and no matter what, he got booed.
Right. But it was all venom. Oh yeah,
Right.
once
So,
you told us to kick rocks, it was all
but it was gonna
best
be
for
that.
all.
But you can't tell me it wasn't gonna be that way regardless.
It
Even if
wasn't.
Dillon was
No,
out
it
there
wasn't.
lighting it
But
up,
that's what
it
I'm
was still
saying.
gonna
Y'all
be
gotta give us the
what.
benefit of the doubt. Y'all gotta give us the respect that we deserve as Shedeur's fan base, because I think that's why I said a lot of people mix in the really belligerent ones with the more level-headed one, and the level-headed ones are the ones that are the majority. But nobody deals with the positive, like Coach Prime, right? And his crew, they'll get like, let's say if there's 100 content creators that are out there promoting them and giving them good reviews and whatnot and just saying good things, they will leave that 100 and go for that one guy that has been cussing them out and give him all the credit or give him all the attention that they need. People don't focus on positive, they focus on the negative.
That
So
is
if you
true.
got, let's just say, 15 aunties that are cussing out Mary Kay to make her turn off her comments, right? Those
Hmm.
15 aunties with the machete and the Bible, they sound like a majority because they're negative. People only focus on the negative. They don't focus on positive.
That's true. People have a negativity bias.
Exactly.
It's
So that
innate.
whole
You have.
negativity
Yeah,
bias was making the rounds in the media, because you're going to get the aunties were only here for Shedeur, and everything he does was good. Nothing he did was bad. But that was not the football people. So y'all went after the aunties, or all of the media went after the aunties and all the negative things that we're saying, and forgot about the in-between people who were the majority, the people that really held him accountable for football stuff. A lot of people never held Shedeur accountable. A lot of the aunties don't hold Shedeur accountable for football mistakes.
that I think that for me is I wasn't like you always hear me say is that I was never against Shador, and I'm just never against the fan. It was just I was against one of where if you didn't say anything that was complimentary or flattering, you immediately call a hater, and then the other part that I
From
can
the
say that
aunties.
right I had to
Again,
navigate. Yeah, the other part I had to navigate is that sometimes like people were looking and they would say stuff or use stats, and it's kind of like, okay, you probably and see my thing, I'm never going to just flat out disrespect a sister, which are normally aunties. That ain't my style. I believe in always with a safe or hate space, but sometimes people were saying things that were not true from a football standpoint, and even when you try to lovingly correct. But I get what you're saying is that I don't think that the NFL, well, they should have been ready, but that the Browns were ready for for what was going to come. And I think that's why a lot of teams was like, I don't want to deal with it. But once the Browns decided to draft him, somebody should have sit back and said, okay, this is what's going to happen. They should have had a CU media coach, I guess. They should have hired you, basically.
that's what I'm saying. Like they had to understand, because we gave them the heads up. At least TLP gave them the heads up.
Right. Because some
We
people
get
have those,
we give them we let them know that what was coming was not regular.
right?
This
Because
was going to be worse than Johnny Manziel. This was going to be worse than anything they've ever experienced,
and you know why?
because
It's
the
because
aunties were not. They don't play fair. The aunties are not here for football. They are here for social and religious reasons.
So Harry B, the one of the things that fits within the realm. I don't know if you know, ever heard the term of a parasocial relationship, is where you don't really know the person, but you've seen so much about them, like a celebrity or entertainer, that you feel like it's a relative. And that if you do not know that aspect in media, that you are dealing with fans that feel have a parasocial relationship to, you're gonna mess it up. And you saw a lot of people not understand. Like I eventually had to go back and kind of look at that. And that's kind of why I was like, chill out. You're dealing with people who feel like this actually is their nephew.
Yes, but come on, DC man. I said that here. I made sure I spelled it out. I helped y'all with that, and I told y'all what this was. Dude, I did the graphics with the Bible and the machete. That graphic was to let you know that this is not normal stuff. Who carries a Bible in a machete? Come on, DC.
Bro, I'm telling you, out of all I've seen, I wasn't even ready for it. But once I had to check myself and say, all right, hold on one second. Don't be ready to get my flamethrower out. Let's just chill out, listen to what people are saying. And once I got it, I kind of was like, all right, you know what? You can sit here and talk X's and O's. I can sit back and talk about what happened at the third down, at third down with 14 seconds left in the AFC Championship back in like 82 or something like that. But even if I know all that kind of stuff, you still have to be loving enough to welcome. So I normally will come from a safe space, but some of the machetes, I mean, it was straight up. This is guys annoying. And I was like, you know what? Basically, what you do with that is just like I would do with my actual auntie. I got your auntie. Do your thing and let it be. But some people was trying to push back. No, you don't do that. Now there are some people who got a thing. And see, our thing is, I got a love for my FBAs and stuff like that. But man, sometimes my FBAs be just trying to eviscerate folks. They do March. That's all right though. I get it now.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I try to let people know, and then I try to articulate. That's why I say, look, man, this channel is not about just we don't just do football here. Like we pray, we do a bunch of stuff here, but we like the culture. We give you the full thing. And then I said, hey, Cleveland, the same thing I did with Colorado. I said I try to let the Colorado fan base know this is not going to be normal. We got labels and terminologies and everything that we identified, which is still being used. You know what I'm saying? Like these bandwagon buffs are not regular Colorado fans, is mixed in with Colorado fans, but there are some here that are just here for the fact that we are disenfranchised from a lot of things. You remember the auntie that came in yesterday? And we were talking, maybe not yesterday, but we were talking something about college, and she was like, "We don't own anything." And I said, "Oh, that's not what we're talking about today." And the auntie was like, "Oh, my bad." You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people are always with the mindset of, "Hey, man, we feel like this is our representative, right? We don't have a lot of representative out there, and when we find one, we protect it to the death, right?"
Right.
So Shedeur was the representative, and I've been trying to articulate that so much here on this channel to let people know what you're getting is not a regular Johnny Manziel white boy that can play football type of situation. You're getting aunties and uncles. Aunties and uncles is way different. When somebody says, "Yes, that's my nephew," bruh, they're willing to throw hands for their nephew. Weren't nobody calling Johnny Manziel a nephew. No, they were just deranged, crazy fans. But crazy fans, they know that it's ups and downs, it's W's and L's. Aunties and uncles are not W's and L's. They are rotten regardless.
You know what? Like Swansley was saying, he said, let's agree to disagree about the many aunties know football. Please don't discount. And I don't discount that. I know that there are many that know, like
But they're
Shantae.
not say that there
Right,
are aunties that are not here for football.
right,
There's
right.
the Shedeur fan base that know football,
Like
and then there
Shantae
are
knows
aunties
football.
that are not here for football.
Right, like Shantae knows football, but like for example, what will happen is that it's like this. Like when I say stuff and people call you hater, and it's like, all right, check this out. At the end of the day, you can say he ain't have a line, he ain't have this. Well, they ain't giving reps. Normal football is don't nobody care about that. They care about the wins and losses. The same thing with Jordan and Pippen and Rodman and all that. If you don't have them wins, then you getting eviscerated. It is what it is, and sometimes it's hate, but a lot of times that's just what football is. When you are not doing it, they're going to come for you and call you trash. Some folks call LeBron trash. Is LeBron trash? No, LeBron is not trash. People just sit back and say, man, Jordan a smoke Kobe all day long. Having seen both of them, they both had different games. So I can't say that. But that's the thing I would say is that sometimes when you're trying to go, okay, hey, I got this, these people are coming at you. and they know, and some of the aunties know the sports. Well, many of them know it, but to a point where you got to understand, hey, at the end of the day, if you look like Harry B, I've watched you sometimes. Like when Shedeur doesn't throw that ball away, you come unglued. But that's not
Of
because you hate
course.
him. It's because you love him. And it's like, bro, you're not finna stay in this league if you keep taking 15, 20 yard sacks and then throwing
You're hurting the
interceptions to
team.
give a short field. They're going to eviscerate you, and they got nothing to do with whether. Well, for some folks, they're gonna hate him anyway.
Yeah, I
But
mean you're hurting the team when you keep losing yardage. Like if anybody knows, like, come on, bro. Like if we locked in with the Browns winning, bro, and then we got like 2 minutes left and you're taking 15-minute sacks. I mean, 15-yard sacks.
yeah, you can't do it.
Anybody should be upset about that. Like that's why I said the aunties that understand football would be like, dang, he played terrible today. But the aunties that don't understand football, he can't do no wrong.
I'm all right with
Let's
that.
listen to Jimmy Haslam and let's about the firing. Man, I said we was going to be out of here, but
Takes full responsibility for where we are. To win 8 games in 2 years is horrible. It's totally unacceptable, okay? And it's not going to continue, okay? And I want the fans to know we are as frustrated as you are, and we hear a lot from our fans, which we actually appreciate. We have great fans, they're extremely passionate, and they deserve better than what they've gotten the last 2 years, okay? No, I don't need to say anything else. We are going to give you a better product. Our sole goal here is to be a consistent winner, not make the playoffs in 20 and then make it again in 23, not win 8 games in 2 years. That's not what we're trying to do. That's not acceptable. Our fans deserve better.
I mean, yeah, I
Ooh,
mean,
Jesus.
your PR team can, write a nice little script there. I mean, I get it, but that's not how you're running your organization. Thoughts, anyways, your thoughts. Let's get up out of here. What's your thoughts on that?
Dang, when rich white billionaires talk, you can get a lot from it because they're very calculating. That says, because who was his focus on? The what? Fans. Good Jesus. I don't know what to say because there was so much that was said that was not said, but it sounds to me like he did not like where it was going and that he is committed to it. So I'm going to hold him to it.
That's all you heard?
I mean, I heard a lot of stuff, but some of the stuff I'm having to edit myself on. I'll have to tell you offline. But he said the right things. I guess you're supposed to say in public.
I mean, do you feel like it was genuine?
I don't know. Being honest with you, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I heard him focus on the fans, but to a point where I was expecting to hear the pivot to we're already out here interviewing, we're going to get the best coach and then set the stage. Right now, it was just like fans, 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 fans. We understand losing is unacceptable, absolutely, but fans, 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 fans. And I would like to hear you telling me what the issue is. I needed to hear how you fix it.
Well, I mean, but no, I think that was a short clip. That's a 42-minute clip, so you're not hearing.
Okay.
Yeah. That's not a
All
whole
right.
interview.
All
That's
right.
just a short clip. But the thing about the fans that I hear is that they got, like, you started it off right. You said a white billionaire, right? But and guess what the organization did not get this year? Just take a wild guess. And keep in mind, white and billionaire. What did the organization miss this year? And the reason why he's saying fans.
Well, you already kind of mentioned it, that they didn't bring in the new fans. They didn't bring in the fans that Shedeur came with his fan base.
Also, but no, his fan base are loyal. But
Are very
the
loyal.
seats were empty this year.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when he's saying that's code message on code to say, come back. We need to get those fans back because television, national television helps your brand. So if you're having empty seats, the worst thing for a television broadcasting network is to pan left and see empty seats, or pan right and see empty seats.
Well,
So
but see,
that white guy billionaire right there, that's what he's focused on, getting those fans to come back to the stadium. He don't
what
care about nothing else.
right, but the thing is that the reason why that didn't jump right out at me because they always pretty much sell out of the tickets. Now, whether people were coming or not, they probably weren't coming because near the end of the season, it wasn't looking good. Once it wasn't looking good. But I also get now, yeah, you're right, and I think that put like this. I thought Stefanski was going to go anyway, even though I really should, because they've got to revamp. They're about to build this gorgeous stadium that
Mm-hmm.
opens in 2028, and you got to fill it, and you got to get people that's willing to buy tickets and stuff. So they got to revamp that team
That's why he's saying
regardless.
fan, and that's why Jeffrey and Tim are saying that new stadium needs those fans to
Yeah,
come back, and you can't
yeah,
have
yeah. You got to fill that thing out.
right
It's going, yeah.
your television deal, you know, and then a lot of their games, are going to be out of market games for a lot of people. But if it's on national television, then you can get a lot more people watching. But that new stadium needs fans. So he's saying fans, fans, fans,
You ain't
because
lying. Fans that
that
make you
new sta-
dance. I got you.
right. So that billionaire is thinking about, oh shoot, I need to put butts in those seats. And so we're gonna listen to the fans to a certain extent now.
So you need the fans, and you need the fans to buy the season tickets, as well as you need the sponsors to go ahead and stick stuff up around there that puts money in his. Like I said, when you hear people at that level speak, there's a lot going on. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
great thing to keep key in on. Hey, I'm keying in on because because you know how they're very focused. Everything they say, there is a message
There's
behind
a
it.
message behind how many
Yes,
times they say that specific thing,
absolutely. If
and
it's
that's
repeated,
following the dollars.
if it's repeated, you better believe. That's what he kept
That's
saying.
what
Notice I focused on him going fans fast. Like, you know what? When they speak and they're repetitive,
uh-huh. They know what time it is. And
yes, they
then
do.
and then like, that's why I kept saying you need to bring in a coach that knows how to integrate the fan bases. If a coach knows how to integrate the fan base, because you don't have to say much to make the fans happy, you just got to acknowledge them. It's just like this thing we're doing right here. I'll give you this very basic example. The streamer that ignores their chat is a streamer that's not going to be streaming for very long. You see what I'm saying? You got to acknowledge people when they are in your presence. You got to say hello. You got to know their name. You got to say Jeffrey's here. Tim from Dallas is here. You got to say, hey, DC's in the building. What up, DC? Swansley's here. Alpha J is here. If you ignore people, they're just going to naturally just go find somewhere else that wants them around. So when Stafanski does not know how to acknowledge the Shedeur Sanders' fan base and integrate them, they're not going to be happy to go to the stadium with their number 12 jerseys on, even though some of them did. So that's why I say you need a coach that's able to communicate to the fan base and let them know you are welcome here. If you go to Miami, if you went to Miami and you had a coach who threw out all the alumni and says you're not welcome, Michael Irvin won't be on the sidelines cheering and going crazy every game. He wouldn't feel welcome. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
there was a thing going on with one of the local HBCUs I would name, and they were basically telling former players and stuff, you can't that you can't you're not going to get sideline access. You're going to have to pay, and it caused I mean, just a lot of stuff, and like the fan base just went nuts. Like, no. So I agree with that fan base. Yeah, it's probably going to cost. Put it like this. So if that's the case, I can't wait to see what he does, because you're gonna just from listening to you, you're saying this next coach needs to be more like a Tomlin, where there's a whole presence within him. He knows how to navigate the media, knows
Mm-hmm.
how to navigate the different personalities, and be able to bring the Shedeur's fan base, from the I just like them to the extremes, as well as bring back the old fans and then create some
Right.
new fans. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see who he picks.
Right. And that leadership is gonna be important. Your yes has to be yes, and your no's have to be no's. You cannot say one thing and do another. You're gonna piss off a lot of people, and they're gonna come out with the machete. I'm telling you, that's why the machetes came out, because you sold us a bill of goods and nothing was on them. You see what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like, bro, we got the message. You told us to kick rocks, that you didn't care about us, and we made you. We fired you. We made sure you got up out of here. The fans spoke and says you got to go. And now you're up out of here. The next guy has to understand, whoever you are, if you're watching, I hope you understand that the fans matter. If you're going to tell the fans to kick rocks, I guarantee you will not be around for very long, because it's the fans that keep your sport going. And no matter how belligerent they are, no matter how much they tell Mary Kay to suck a good one,
Yeah, I've seen folks go in.
bruh, they went in on Mary Kay. She had to turn her comments off.
Yeah,
But
I was watching it.
You have to figure out a way to navigate all of the fan base. Just like I'm a microcosm of what I'm saying. I'm running a YouTube channel here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that say, I don't know anything about football. There are people that say, hey, Harry B, man, I like your takes. There are people that just don't care. There are people that will consume the product and they don't subscribe, right? I have to know how to navigate all of that. I've had to learn not to press send when somebody says something that was very, negative coming at me personally. I've had to learn how to do all of that. So I realized the value in everyone, even the haters who come on here and they say, oh my God, Shedeur sucks. Some of those people are now good members of this community because I did not treat them like dirt. I didn't say, I'm going to block you. I just listened to them. I said, why do you feel that? Why do you feel that way? And then I invited like one of them on the show and I said, tell me why you feel the way you feel. There are creators out there that just feel like, oh, if you say anything negative about Shedeur, block him, block him, block him. While Shedeur fans was telling me to block him, I said, no, I'm not blocking them.
Yeah,
and now they're good members of the channel.
Yeah, it's funny to watch people, and I know who you're talking about. It's funny though, I watch people, they just be lighting poor Acho up and just love Shady. And it just be like, good God, man. But here's the thing I would say. Only thing I would say that I will never tell anybody to stop being a fan. Be as passionate as you want. I'm just going to tell you from sitting around watching this game, and I mentioned it earlier in the show, is that it's all good when you're winning. But when you are passionate about your player and then they're not performing at that starter level, the NFL will push you out that door quietly. And they do it so smooth. So all I would say is that just keep that in mind and be passionate. But if you look back here 5 years down the line and it doesn't look the way you want to, again, the pattern in the NFL is for QB, if you can't be well, even like if you go back and listen to some of the stuff that Cam Newton talks about, it's that once it got to a point where he was not winning, it cut his career shorter than it is because Cam Newton still has skills.
But here's the difference between a Shedeur Sanders, a Johnny Manziel, and a Cam Newton. The difference is that Shedeur Sanders is not the one doing it, right? Cam Newton did it. Johnny Manziel did it, right? Shedeur Sanders is not on drugs. Shedeur Sanders is not out there talking greasy or talking crazy. Shedeur Sanders is a well-read young man, but his fans are his voice. And he's like a Donald Trump where he's not going to tell his fans to kick rocks, right? He's going to lean into his fan base and say, these are my fans. That's my fans. Those are my fans. He ain't. I think people want they wanted Donald Trump to tell his fans to kick rocks, and the worst of his fans to tell them to be silent. That's what they want Shedeur to do. And Donald Trump never did that. He never told the most deranged parts of his fan base, "Oh, you guys are terrible. Be quiet." No. He never did that, right? So, but they're the loudest. They're the ones that. I mean, there's probably a small percentage of those people. I bet you it's only like 5% of his fan base that are the most outrageous, right?
That's true.
Okay, Shedeur's fan base is probably the same. You probably got a bunch of people who are really level-headed people who want the best for everybody. But then you got the 5% who are just slash and burn. Turn or burn. Bible-toting machete people who don't care about football. That 5%, they are the most loudest people.
You mean the people that post scriptures and then also put SYBAU at the same time?
Exactly. The ones that will cuss you out with the scripture, with the Bible in their hands.
I love it too, man. 5%. I ain't gonna lie.
We call them the 5%ers. The 5% that. So yeah, but Shedeur is not a Cam Newton. Shedeur don't say nothing. Shedeur don't do nothing.
Yeah, you got a great point there.
Besides the 101 miles per hour because he's a knucklehead, right? Besides that stuff, Shedeur he's a good dude, but you would never get to that with the fans. It's us you want, not him. People don't get it. I keep saying that here. It's not Shedeur. It's me you want.
Salute to you, Peter, too. But you know what? That is a good point. And it's the study of I don't think people look at what fandom really is, and there are good elements to it. And then there is a toxic element like this kind of thing with the whole, when you mentioned Trump, and not trying to get into that, but I was talking to my sister about it, and she would say stuff, and I said, well, you have to think about it. It's that some people, it's not that they like him, they just don't like you. She's like, what do you mean? I said, well, that is to a point. Sometimes people just like somebody for what they stand for, and you have a whole bunch of other stuff, but you're right where, man, that's probably a good doggone show, Harry, be in the off season is about fandom. What is it?
We had 1,000 of these shows already, bro.
No, I'm talking about after now the NFL when we have had it, but the whole C universe is grown, and how we talk about where that is where it is Shedeur is, where it is with Travis, which, man, I hate it because I think Jacksonville is going to the playoffs, and Travis
Jacksonville and Carolina are going to the playoffs.
I hate that with Travis not being able to be in there, man. I hate that.
We get to see Jimmy Horn. And look, ask Peter about the fan situation. Peter's been around. Swansley too. Ask him. And you've been around. We had those shows where we identify all of the fans, and we tell people, hey, this is where it's at. And poor Jeffrey, one of the white guys around here, they'll just call him racist for no reason.
You ain't lying, boy.
If you have a difference of opinion and you're white, you're racist.
And then if you're black, you are Uncle Tom, you a coon.
You're Uncle Tom, you're a coon, and you're a hater.
Yeah, but you know what though? I think now that it's expand, it in the off season that is good, because I mean that
we gotta double back. We gotta double back and do one of those fan shows again. And identify the fans so people can understand, the Browns fan base, they have to understand again. And I don't mind doubling back and doing another show. Swansley knows, and Peter invested. He even says the Care Bears. You know about the Care. We've done so much here to educate the outsiders about the BWBs, right? We are BW. We have already told y'all we're bandwagon Browns, and then we're bandwagon Buffs. So we do a good job here at TLP identifying the different levels of the fan base so people can learn. Hey man, it's not going to be the same. You're probably upset at the 5% because you're not focused on the positive. You're focusing on the negative. So if one person says, one bad fan can ruin a whole fan base. If one person is just going around saying, "Oh my gosh, all you white people that don't like Shedeur are racist," or all you white people who have anything negative or anything constructive to say about Shedeur, you're all racist. That one fan may make me look like I'm racist because I happen to be black. You know what I'm saying? Association, right? I happen to be black and I happen to be a Shedeur fan. So that person will probably think I'm racist, or I'm calling them racist because I'm a Shedeur fan who happens to just be dealing with this one person who just can't help themselves but to call everybody that's white racist, because Mary Kay's racist. 93 the fan is racist.
Is it Mary KKK as they were? I seen some
Mary
people call her.
KKK. That's what I'm saying. So I think you're right, DC. We might have to double back and do another fan show now that the season is over. We can, we never stop here at TLP. So we'll have to do one of these shows again and just have a conversation about, maybe an off-script conversation about the different levels of fans, because one thing you know about Deion Sanders and his family, they don't care your color. They just want everybody to win. So we've said that here many times. They just want everybody to win. But obviously you got to deal with the different sections. There's levels to this.
Yeah, because like for me, I'm about, I understand the fandom, most of it in being black. Of course, I understand what we deal with in our community, but I'm also, we had our discussion where it can be a battle because you got that warrior in you, you got that warrior in you. I got to be, so the clash will be there, but it's still out of love. It ain't no I hate you, I'm gonna slap you when I see you. It's never about that. It's just a discussion because those are barbershop discussions.
Yeah.
I think that I don't, because here's the thing, and you said it, but it's just a reminder to me. In so many ways, you said it. If somebody they have the right to like Shedeur for whatever reason, whatever reason, and you can sit back and say, he sucked. In one game, he might have sucked. Like that first quarter was not good at all. But at the end of the day is you get the right to do that. And that's the respect. Like, that's a good thing. Respecting someone else's fandom, but, not taking, like Swansea could say something to me and I would not take that personally. I know he got a love for the game and he got a love for the community. Why would I be going back and forth with him on that?
Right. And then we also have to bring that confirmation bias in it as well, because people want you to agree with them. People want you to confirm whatever feelings they have.
You're not going to get that with me.
If they hate Trump, they want you to hate Trump with them. If you love Trump, they want you to love Trump with them, right? Like if you hate Shedeur, the reason why they're typing 1,000 characters and they will pay the extra money on Twitter so that they can have more to say. I would never pay that, by the way. The reason why they're paying that extra $5 or $8 to make sure to say that much is because they're trying to get you to agree with their positions. But I've learned, I wasn't always like this. I've had to learn since I got a business called YouTube that deals with people of different mindsets and differences of opinions. I've had to learn that I cannot be in an echo chamber and get caught up with a bunch of people who want that confirmation bias, because then now I'm caught up in that echo chamber and then I don't grow, because people in an echo chamber or who agree with you, they're not your best supporters. When you post something, they won't do anything with it. It's the people that don't agree with you that support you the most because they are invested. They want to hear what you got to say so they can either give a rebuttal or they can challenge you. That's great. That's healthy for discussion. But people don't like that. They want somebody to agree with them. That's why you'll get a bunch of people who lose their way when they started off with a level-headed mind where they can agree with this person, disagree with that person, but they lost their way because they like the fact that they got a bunch of people agreeing with them. And my stance is I'm going to piss all of you off. So never get comfortable around me. I don't want nobody to get comfortable around me because I'm going to piss you off. I don't care. If you like Shedeur and I like Shedeur, we agree on that. Please stand by because I'm about to piss you off because I'm about to say something you're not going to like about him. You see what I'm saying? Bro, I sleep so good at night because of that. Man, I don't like to capitulate. I don't like to pander to nobody. If I agree with the Christians 1 second, and the Muslims are like, "Oh, coming at me," and I'm supposed to cuss the Muslims out. I said, "Nope," because the Bible
Mm-mm.
says I should not do that. So Christians, stand by. If you and I are high fiving today, tomorrow I'm pissing you off tomorrow.
But but here go the thing. You're right. But see, the thing for me is like conflict don't have to equal combat. I can disagree with you. We can go at it. But that doesn't
Mhm.
mean that it has to be something that's very combative, that it gets, from non-kinetic, which is words, to kinetic, which means it's blows thrown. Doesn't have to be that way. And I think that that's where we have to have that respect. That's probably why it's a great conversation. Also, is to a point is that, like not the Peter investor, but the other people that's like, yeah, they'll light him up. But guess what? You brought him on to talk to him. You wanted to know why. And it
Mhm.
wasn't that he didn't like Shedeur, it was that he doesn't like glaze.
Right.
That's it.
That's it. And don't expect people to agree with you. Stop. Like, okay, let's end with this. I'm final thoughts. This is my final thoughts, and then DC, you'll go first, and then you'll go
Okay.
next. If you're on social media, stop trying to uh, 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 get everybody to agree with you. If one or two people agree with you, that's cool. But if the next person doesn't agree with you, don't throw them away that quickly. They're not a hater, or they don't like. If they don't agree with you, man, they don't agree with you. All right, we're gonna do a show about fans, and we're gonna get a lot more in this type of information and a lot more of that. But please understand that you probably get upset with Democrats if you're not a Democrat. You probably get upset with Republicans if you're not a Republican, and you probably are upset with Donald Trump because you're a Democrat and you don't like his ideas, or you probably get upset with Biden. All of that, what you're doing is you're taking your brain and you're taking half of it and saying, I don't like these people. My pastor preached yesterday and he was saying, hey man, look, you can't be a Christian and live that kind of life online, because how do you pray for the person you hate? How do you try to pray to go to God for the person that you don't like so much you wish they would die? You can't. So try to open your mind to conversations and try to allow other people to have a voice in your life. I guarantee you, you might learn something. I guarantee you, you and that person might have a lot more in common than you think. That's my final thoughts on that. DC, you go.
Right. I say this like when Obama became president, a lot of people were arguing back and forth. And then, so of course, folks would say, that is, particular race, they just hating they X, Y, and Z. I said, well, you know what? I want to find out. So I actually start calling folks or going on stuff and interview them. And I'm asking them, hey, what do you think about this? And one guy used to go back and forth with me till I found out he was military, and we said we're gonna meet up. And when I talked to him, we went and shot and had coffee, and it was a great relationship. And that he, because I got to understand, it wasn't that he didn't like him or the skin, it was just some of the things he didn't like. And then I will say this in closing: being, studying different wars, I like to
Let,
look at
let
the.
people know who you are before you say that part.
Okay, so I'm DC Carson Music. I'm retired military, and I did over 25 years, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. And one thing, it'll lead me into this point. Oh, and that's absolutely, y'all could come check me out on YouTube, but I've got music on all streaming platforms, DC Carson Music. So come check it out. Let me know. Stream it, like it, love it. All right. So the thing is, as I close, the thing I liked about studying the Vietnam War was because that was during the height of so many different things going on in our country. And I listened to white veterans and black veterans, to include my own dad. And it's interesting how they went to Vietnam hating each other and then being in a foxhole and all the racism, watching a black dude save them. And he said the racism, it just immediately left, and a lot of those folks was friends until the day they died. You would see white dudes losing their mind because it was like, I thought that I was not supposed to like them. And when I watched how we had to have a sharing bond, a bonding time, unfortunately, was, trauma and bullets going by. But that's the thing, folks, is that sometimes you don't always have to agree, but if you sit and talk, you'll find that there's more you agree upon than not. And football is supposed to be fun. If you're coming in here to fight the whole race war, if you're coming in here trying to make it if you're looking at it as a Selma Montgomery March, you're going to miss some of the fun stuff.
Oh yeah,
So
it's
that's
so
what I,
fun to meet new people.
yes. So
Hmm.
that's my thing, is that come in here, don't take it personal. Yeah, you might have to push back some people, but just have fun with it and just ask questions and get to know about people versus just condemning them because they don't agree with you.
And stop blocking people so quickly.
Oh God, yes.
Hey, drop your link before we go, because I think Jeffrey wants to check out your music. Drop your link. Is it DC Carson Music?
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube, DC Carson Music, as well as on all streaming platforms. It's going to be the same thing, DC Carson Music on Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. Just DC Carson Music. That's it.
So is DC
DC Carson. On YouTube is DC Carson.
Is it CARSON?
Yes. Charlie Alpha Romeo Sierra Oscar November.
Music. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this here. I think it's this right here at DC Carson Music. That right there, right? That's how you spell it?
Yes.
Okay, so y'all go to YouTube and check it out. DC Carson Music on YouTube.
That's right. And then on the Spotify and Apple, it's just DC Carson.
Just DC
DC
Carson.
space Carson. And enjoy it. Appreciate it. Let me know how y'all feel about it. And I appreciate you, man. That I appreciate that, Harry B. And appreciate the show, man. This is an awesome community.
Hey man, we're building. 2026 is on the way, man. We got lots of more conversations to have, man. When you come here, you don't come for the breaking news, you come for the conversation, and you come for the community. That's what TLP Sports Club is all about. Thank you so much, DC, my guest, for joining me today. I appreciate you. Guys out there, don't forget, you can always call into the show. It's just send me a quick email, jointlplive@gmail.com. That's how you join the show. That's how you get on the panel. It's very easy. I don't use your email to say spam. Matter of fact, you might become friends. You never know. We make a lot of friends around here. As a community, people know each other around here, and we're matchmakers also. All the single ladies and all the single men. if you might find your special person in this community, you never know. But man, y'all have a great evening, man. We'll talk more about this in coming weeks or in the coming days. And yeah, man, DC, thank you for joining me, and I'll see y'all on the next show.
All right, peace.
All right, guys, have a good day. I'm out. Peace. Don't forget to subscribe too. Please hit that subscribe button to help this channel grow. I'm out.